With React Stripe.js, the payment element and automatic payment methods, it's never been easier to offer a wide range of local payment methods to your customers in one single integration. And another great advantage is that as we release new payment methods, you can include those in your React app with no effort whatsoever. In this demo, we're going to learn how to integrate the payment element with a React app and how you can turn on new payment methods by simply clicking on a button in the dashboard without having to change, test, or redeploy your code. Let's take a quick peek at what we're going to build today. This grouping of elements is the payment element. We're going to render the payment element on a form underneath a title here. Both of these will be rendered on the checkout form component. The checkout form component will in turn be rendered by a payment component. And on that payment component, we're going to do things like load Stripe and create a payment intent. And then finally, the payment component will be rendered by the app. So let's use a standard test card here and see what happens. We're going to click on pay. It's going to be processing, and we'll finally land on this completion page. To follow along with building this app, there are a few prerequisites. You'll need a working knowledge of JavaScript and React, like components and hooks, and you'll need a free Stripe account. So let's build this together. The first thing we'll need to do is to clone the repo. You can find it on GitHub under matthewling-stripe React Stripe payment element. So let's grab that URL, and we're going to git clone the branch getting started. So let's jump into that directory and open VS Code. So next, we're going to need to copy our keys from our Stripe account. So if you haven't already created a free Stripe account, now would be a good time to do that. We're going to copy the contents of this sample file here and create a file called .env in the server directory. Jump into the dashboard, and under developers, API keys, you'll see here the publishable key and the secret key, which we'll copy into the .env file. So a little security tip here: if you ever reveal your secret key or leak it in any way, you can roll your key by clicking on this ellipsis here. So that's a really good security tip over here. Now that we have our key set up, we can go about installing these apps. So we'll jump into the terminal and start with the server npm install. Let's do the same for the client. Npm install. We can actually start the server immediately. Let's make a bit of space here. npm run start, and that should be listening on 5252. And here npm run start to run the client, which should be running on 4242. It is, and it dumps us into the browser. Great. Okay, so let's have a look at what we have to start with. In the node server, we've already set up the Stripe node client using the secret key that we just configured. And we have two important routes here: a get request to /config, which sends the publishable key to the front end, and a post request to create a payment intent, which we're going to fill out later. Okay, so we jump into the client. Starting with the index.js, we render the app here. The app is essentially two routes, one for / and one for completion, which render the payment and completion components respectively. So we'll look at completion first, as it's the simplest component. It just renders a nice thank you message in a heading. And if we jump into payment, this is where we're going to do a lot of our work today. We're going to do things like loading Stripe. We're going to create a payment intent, grab its client secret, and we're going to render the checkout form. Now the checkout form is the form where we're going to render the payment element. We've got some boilerplate here, the form, a button, and some Boolean states and a message, which we will discuss later. Okay, so we're going to get started here in payment.js. So the first thing we'll need to do is to import or to load Stripe.js, and we'll do that using a function called loadStripe, which we'll import. So loadStripe will asynchronously load Stripe.js and return a promise that resolves to a Stripe object. So we're going to want to save that promise in state. And loadStripe expects a publishable key as an argument. So we'll need to fetch that from the config route that we saw earlier in server.js. We're going to use the useEffect hook for that. Don't forget to provide an empty dependency array here so that this hook only runs once when the component is loaded. So fetch from config, and then the publishable key from the result. So let's log that to make sure we're getting that cleanly. Yeah, so there's the publishable key being logged. And then we're going to want to replace that though with setting the promise with the result of calling loadStripe, providing the publishable key. Great. So the next thing we should do is to create a payment intent on the back end using a second useEffect hook passing the client secret to the front end, which will eventually be used to initialize elements so that we can use the payment element on the checkout form component. So we're going to need state for that too. Client secret, use state, initialized with an empty string. But we need to jump into the back end to create that payment intent first. So let's do that. Here we go. And most importantly, we're going to use automatic payment methods. And essentially what this means is instead of hard coding a list of payment methods that we'd like to use, we're going to say we're going to use automatic payment methods, which means we can turn payment methods on and off with the click of a button in the dashboard. And finally, we'll send the client secret to the front end. So it's good practice to try and catch any potential errors when calling APIs. So let's do some rudimentary error checking here. If it occurs, we'll catch any errors and respond with a handy message to the front end. Cool. So let's restart that server. Payment intent, currency, amount, automatic payment methods. Perfect. Okay. So in the front end, we're going to want to use a second use effect hook to create that payment intent. Create payment intent. But this is a post request, so we need to provide some more options here. Post with an empty body. And this will be the client secret. And let's console log that too to make sure we're getting that. Yeah, so that's the client secret being logged out. Great. So now we're going to want to set the state for that. So now we can import the checkout form to be rendered. And we can render that right here underneath the title or this header, checkout form. And if we reload the page, it's already reloaded, we'll see that we're getting the button that was on that form. Cool. So we have a Stripe promise that's going to resolve to a Stripe object, and we have a client secret that will be used to initialize elements. So how do we pass these down into the checkout form so that they can be used? And the answer is to use an elements provider, which we'll import now. The elements provider allows us to use elements, components, and also gives us access to a resolve Stripe object in any nested components. So that means we have to nest the checkout form in the elements provider. And the elements provider takes two props, a Stripe prop, which is a Stripe object or a Stripe promise that resolves to a Stripe object. In this case, we have the promise. And we also have this options prop, which is optional, but when we're using payment elements in nested components, we do need to pass the client secret. Cool. Now, when this component renders for the first time, it's very likely that this client secret is just not going to be loaded when this renders. So we need to make sure that these objects are in place before we go and render this checkout form. So we're going to need to wrap this in some checks. So here we'll say Stripe promise when that's there and the client secret is there, and then we can render the checkout form wrapped by the elements provider. Cool. So that's all working. And next we're going to move on to the checkout form and finish that. Stripe React.js provides us with two really useful hooks. The first is use Stripe, which gives us access to a resolved Stripe object, which we pass through using the promise and the elements provider. And the second is use elements, which gives us access to an elements instance, which allows us to safely pass information from the payment element to the Stripe API. So let's go ahead and import and use those first. So use Stripe and use elements from Stripe. Great. Next, we can import the payment element and render that. We can do that on the form. If we jump into the browser, yeah, we can already see that the payment element is being rendered. So next we will handle the form submission, and similarly to the payment component, we're going to start with the guard clause to make sure that both Stripe and the elements objects are fully initialized. If not Stripe rather, or not elements, we'll simply return and wait. If they are initialized though, we'll set the is processing Boolean state to true. That will have the side effect that it will disable the button to avoid any more erroneous form posts, potentially creating other payments, and it will set the processing text on that button. Then we are going to handle the payment confirmation, passing the element's instance so that it can reference the payment element, and these options for confirm params. That wants a return URL. We'll speak about that in a moment. We'll return to the current location, but we will go to the completion route, which is the simple component we saw earlier on. So the return URL here, the payment element can provide so many different types of payment methods. Some of them will require a redirection. For example, if the customer goes to a bank to authorize a payment method, and then we need to know where you should return to, right? So this is why we provide this return URL. For payment methods that don't necessarily require a redirection can be avoided by setting redirect only if required when confirming the payment intent, but we are always going to redirect just for the moment. And then finally, we can add some rudimentary error checking again. So if there is an error, so this will if an error occurs, it will return immediately. We'll set the message to the error message. And finally, once that function is finished, we're going to set the isProcessing state back to false. Oops. Back to false. Great. So let's jump in. Let's reload the component and use a standard test card. So it's processing. Cool. And we landed on the completion route. So if we check our payments, we should see a successful payment right here at the top. That's the one we just completed. Great. So let's take a look at a non-card payment method and how that looks when we're testing. So let's take ideal, for example, provide a name, click pay. Then we'll be redirected to the intermediate test page here. So where we can confirm or fail an ideal test payment. In this case, we'll authorize the payment, and then we land back via the redirect on the return URL, which we saw before. So let's go ahead and handle the cases though where we don't necessarily need to redirect. So for card payments, for example. So here we would say when confirming the payment, redirect if required. So that means though we need to handle both redirect cases and non-redirect cases. In that case, for card payments, for example, in the non-redirect case, a payment intent will be returned. So here we're checking if there was an error, then we're going to set the error message. We can modify this to say else if payment intent, and let's just check the status is succeeded. Then we're going to set the message to something like payment status, and let's append here the payment intent status, and maybe a fun emoji. Great. We might even have one more clause that says unexpected state. Great. So we've said only to redirect if required. Otherwise, and then if we get an error, we'll set the message, and if not, we'll look at the payment status. So let's go back and test that. Back to the main route. Let's give it the standard test card. Pay. So we didn't redirect, and we set the message here. So let's do one more test. We'll go and grab a card that declines. Under test cards, you can see there's like a lot of different cards you can choose from. We're going to just choose the first one that declines here, and then that will be the error case. Great. So let's look at automatic payment methods really quickly. If we jump into the code, into the server.js, when we were creating our payment intent, we told it to use automatic payment methods. So instead of specifying a list of payment methods that you'd like to use, like card, ideal, bank contact, we can enable and disable payment methods directly in the dashboard by just clicking on a button. So here we can see for cards, the cards are on. Apple Pay and Google Pay is already turned on. But let's say for the sake of argument, let's jump back to the payment element real quick. So we've got ideal, bank contact, so forth, GiroPay, EPS, all popular methods. But let's say you wanted to expand into Poland and use P24, which is really popular there. You can simply click the button, reload the page, and P24 will be available in your integration and in your app. So this is really, really powerful because as we release new payment methods and they're available to you in the dashboard, you can make use of them in your integration by simply turning them on in the dashboard. So you don't need to change your code, test, and redeploy to get access to new payment methods. With React Stripe.js, the payment element, and automatic payment methods, it's never been easier to offer a wide range of local payment methods to your customers in one single integration. And another great advantage is that as we release new payment methods, you can include those in your React app with no effort whatsoever. Thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions, of course, please reach out at any time. You can follow us at StripeDev on Twitter, or you can join in the conversation on our Discord server. All of the links for those will be posted in the description below. Thanks again, and see you next time.